Afternoon, everyone. I'm calling to order today's meeting of the Finance Committee. It's Monday, November 30th, 2020. The time is 4:30. I'm Laura McNally, Fifth Ward City Council Person and Chairwoman. I'm going to take today's roll call for us, as usual. We have Jennifer Ozinger, Rick Deek, Barry Finley, Anita Davis, Basha Adamczak, Beverly Hosey, Chuck Shasho, Dana Lance, Don Turnage, Aaron Bishop, Harry Johnson, Julius Oliver, Kyle Mizak, Mike Ray, Nikki Posterly, Samantha Turner, Tito Brown, Valencia Morrow, Jean Leeson, and Ron Barber. I think I caught everybody there. So after the roll call, we'll hit our pending legislation for tonight. Number one here is to adopt our temporary operating budget that we do every year. It was included in our full packet. If there are any questions about this, or Kyle, did you want to point anything out about this? I think it's usually pretty straightforward, bare minimum.
Through the chair, if there's no questions, the budget is nearly identical to last year's. Each year, when we put the temporary budget in place, there's always one or two line items where in the prior year, we didn't either put enough or we put too much. So I go in and I alter some of those line items, nothing to any large varying degree. I made sure that almost all of the equipment line items are zeroed out in the temporary budget. So everybody will be pretty much given a basic budget to make sure that they could work through the next 90 days. There's nothing in there inordinary. That's pretty much what was exactly passed last year as the group passed the temporary budget for 2020.
Sure, thanks. Are there any questions in particular? Okay. Great. We will continue on to number two. Here is to purchase equipment from Fisher Auto Parts. Any questions? I'm not seeing anything, so we will move on to number three. Is a payment to Donnell Ford. Questions on this one? Okay. Number four here is for emergency demolition of West Florida. Property in West Florida. Any questions? Okay. Number five. This is payment for liability coverage. We have every year. Anita?
Cal, is there any increase on this? If so, what's the dollar increase?
Yes, there is. And through the chair, I did not have a chance to review the language that was actually put in front of you, but I did look at it last night through the email that Valencia sent, and it's not correctly identifying the cost. What you have in front of you, I believe, because I don't have the documents in front of me, year over year, the change is about, I believe, $64,000. Of that $64,000, there is a number in the 50s that identifies what the year over year increase as a result of the wastewater plant modifications all coming online. That is what the bulk of it is. The difference, which should amount to around $14,000 to $16,000, is a 2% increase passed on to the city from our insurer because of COVID and so many other natural disasters. So yes, there is a 2% increase, and that equates to approximately $16,000. I do not believe the language or the way that it was spelled out for you in the item on your agenda is correctly put in place.
Anita?
To the chair, so will we have a corrected figure or piece come Wednesday? Or will we have to do this at a later date to correct it?
Through the chair, the problem is I have to talk to law. Debbie, as you've all heard, is out of the office. So I need to talk to Dana to make sure that the language is correct. It's just a description that you have on the agenda specifies the numbers incorrectly. I will talk to Dana and we will get that corrected for you. I do
Okay.
need to get that passed because we need to have that in place as of January 1 to have coverage.
Gotcha.
The one item that is not included, just like it wasn't last year, is the coverage for cyber attack. As a result of there being more activity since last year's contract, Lloyd's of London and our insurer are reevaluating our coverage. They want to make sure that it's more airtight. So that is not in this year's current language. It will be a standalone as it was last year for the first time. And we should have that within a week or two. And it may make the next council meeting. And if it doesn't, it'll be in the first council meeting for January. But that will be for cyber attacks.
Okay, thank you.
So Kyle, so the 838, 928 total cost for this is the total cost. It's a 2% increase from last year. And that's the basic summary.
Through the chair, if you look at the language, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. The first number where it talks about a number in the 50s, that is the amount that we are being charged over last year's total for them finally having all of the wastewater treatment plant finished. So if you take that number and subtract it from the total difference, which was, I think, 66, the difference is the 2% increase that was passed on to the city.
Okay. I'm following you.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thanks. All right, number 6. This is the police department justice grant. Any questions on this piece? Okay. Number 7, this is a COVID-19 funds grant for the health department. Number 7 and number 8 are the same. One is accepting the grant, one is increasing appropriations for it. Any questions on 7 or 8 here? And this is for more contact tracing. Correct, Erin?
Yes. Through the chair, I just wanted to let you know that we did receive some additional funding to do contact tracing. And just to give you the reason, we've been asking for some additional funds for contact tracing from the governor's office. And, just in the last week here in the city of Youngstown, we have had an increase of 258 new cases. So if you think about that for our contact tracing team, if everyone, the 258 people have been with 10 contacts, that's, over 2,500 calls they need to make. So we have a team of about 10 right now for contact tracing. So this funding will be for them.
Okay, and how long, are you guys in some type of delay when it comes to that? Are you 2 to 4 days behind when you find out, or are you?
So I will. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Can you just I'm just curious as to what the, how long it's taking for you guys to get through.
Right. Through the chair, we're really good about, we have no backlog. What kind of keeps us is we're waiting for it to come from the labs. And so until the lab puts it into the Ohio disease reporting system, we don't know, who's positive. So once we're able to see that, then we're able to do the calling. So we're pretty, when we get say we got our list today, and probably each contact tracer got about 10 people to call. And these were people that were put into the queue this weekend. So we're pretty quick calling people. It's just taking a long time to get from the testing site to the lab, then to our system.
Okay. Anyone else have questions? Okay. Thank you, Erin. Okay, number 9. This is, I believe it's appropriating funding to the Drug Law Enforcement Fund. Any questions around this one? Okay. Number 10 is CDA funding, appropriating some CDA funding. Questions around this? No. Number 11 is also CDA funding, transferring to the community police. Questions? Anita?
Through the chair. So this is in addition to what they've this is to Cal, I'm sorry, for Cal. This is in addition to what's already been appropriated for the community police. This is an additional funding amount, correct?
Through the chair. I think Nikki is going to have to address this. I know that
I'm sorry.
the normal funding was put in place by you that typically it covers their annual operating budget. The additional funding, there's probably a reason. I think Nikki could probably best address it.
Actually, Beverly's on the line.
Yes,
Beverly?
yes, through the chair. That additional funding is for cameras. There were 2 agencies that declined their funding for the 46 year, and we needed money to fund for security cameras. So the best place to reprogram that funding was to the community police activity, but it's not for the actual police. It's for just for the cameras and the installation of the cameras.
Through the chair.
Go ahead, Anita.
Yes. So who makes the determination of where these cameras are going to go? Would that be community policing?
Through the chair, I
Beverly?
can't answer that right now. I don't know who would answer that.
Sergeant Barber, do you know anything about this request for these cameras?
Ron?
Through the chair.
Mayor?
Here.
Yeah, I think this is if in direct response to the chair of safety, we talked about finding funding for neighborhood cameras.
Right.
And you talked about you had a plan, and so this is the piece, and I think this is going to be with the chief and the safety committee to talk about as well.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I see. I'm curious who declined funding.
Through the chair, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question.
Beverly, who declined their funding that allowed money to become available?
Youngstown Promise Neighborhood, the whole program dissolved. So they and the executive director resigned. So they declined their funding. And Heartreach Neighborhood Ministries declined their funding simply because they wanted to include a total religious portion into their programming as a condition of, providing services. So although HUD does allow us to fund faith-based organizations, they wanted to include very formal type of Christian education.
Any other questions on this piece? Julius?
Thank you, through the chair. Beverly or whoever can answer it. How much funding was made available through those declining of funds? And is there any additional CDBG dollars that are available? And also, is there going to be any requests for additional funding when it comes to these cameras with the community police?
Through the chair,
Beverly?
this is the total funding that was available in public service. The 2 agencies that declined their full amount.
And that amount is?
18,000 from Taft Promise Neighborhood, 15,000 from Heartreach Ministries.
And there's no additional funds in this category, correct?
No, there is not.
And are there going to be any additional asks for funding for the cameras?
I cannot answer that question at this time. This request was just made a few weeks ago.
I don't know. I'll ask Sergeant Barber if he is aware of this, but he might not be.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay. No, I don't have the specific information regarding long-term costs or I just know that it was for, I guess, cameras to be placed in public spaces.
Quick follow-up through the chair.
Go ahead, Julius.
Do we have a number of cameras that this will purchase?
Through the chair, I do not have the specific number right in front of me, but I believe it was between maybe 8 and 10.
Through the chair, that is the information that I received also.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions on this piece?
I do have a question that for
Samantha?
the chair. Thank you. And that you may not have this answer, but you said between 8 and 10 cameras. Does that include storage, and is that everything, or do you believe that's just for the cameras? That's $30,000 for 8 cameras. I just want to get clarity now at this point.
Through the chair, I do have a bid that Gail Slattery sent me, and I can send you a copy of that information.
Thanks, Beverly.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see the, you know, like is there are yearly service fees associated with these cameras? And Anita, did you shake your head when it was mentioned about, when the mayor mentioned you guys had talked about some type of plan for them, and this was part of that?
Through the chair, yeah, we just briefly discussed this at the safety committee and meeting about some cameras and things. And as I think I mentioned at the meeting that it was at the safety meeting, that I have some stuff in the works from the past. And so I'll get with Chief Lees and discuss it further with him for the safety meeting.
Anything else here? Okay, I don't see anything, so I'm gonna keep going. Let's see, number 12 is discretionary. 13 is discretionary, 14 is discretionary, 15 is discretionary, 16 is discretionary. 17, 18, 19, and 20 are also all discretionary. We good? I'm gonna keep going. We have questions here. Okay. 21 through 24 is discretionary. Good. I'm just giving everybody a second. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. And then number 25 here is the ratification of a tentative agreement for Local 2312. Dana, did you have anything to say about this one?
No, I'm just available to answer any questions. This agreement covers 2312, which is the City Hall workers. There are 61 active members in that union as of today.
Does anybody have questions about this? And I'm assuming the administration is in support of passing this?
That is correct. This agreement was the tentative agreement with the union. The union voted to accept, and we reached this without having to go to mediation, fact finding, or any further.
Okay. I don't see any questions on it. Number 26 is ratifying local 2726 as tentative agreement. Dana, anything on this one?
AFSCME 2726 is the water department workers for the city of Youngstown. As of today's date, there are 83 active members in that union. And likewise, we reached an agreement, a tentative agreement with the union without having to go to fact finding or mediation.
Any questions on this one? Okay. And the last piece here is the tentative agreement for YPro. Any, go ahead, Dana.
I apologize. This agreement was voted on by, it's my understanding, I did not partake in these negotiations, but by the police ranking officers after there was a fact-finding situation, and there were recommendations on both sides, and the parties mediated that or worked those terms out short of going to arbitration. There are 42 active members in YPro as of today's date.
Okay, and so they accepted it, and the administration's asking us now to accept it?
That is correct.
Anita?
Through the chair, Dana, has there been any change in management's rights with this new contract?
To be perfectly frank, I did not participate in the negotiations in this one because I have a conflict that prohibited me from doing that. But I did have an opportunity to read the executive summary today, and it appears that basically management has retained its rights as previously. There may have been some clarifications as it related to some arbitration provisions and those things, but basically management retained its rights and the union retained its rights. It appears from my reading that there is just some clarification and probably some expanded some language as it dealt with things that tend to be problematic, but we did not on either side give up any rights that are afforded under the SERB rules or management rights.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I don't see anyone else's hands up for that one. Guessing we're good. That is our agenda in record time, I think, for our meeting here. And we have miscellaneous left here, or that, I'm sorry, that was our pending legislation stuff. So we still have miscellaneous on our agenda. Anybody have anything that they need here? Okay. Then I will take a motion. Basha?
Thank you. Through the chair, I would like to make a motion to forward ordinances 1 through 27 to the council floor for consideration of passage.
Second.
Okay. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
1 second.
Oh, Kyle?
Yes, I need to address you all. I have 3 things. First, we passed an ordinance to give the fire department the authority for border control to enter into a contract with Bearcom to go ahead and purchase all of the equipment and install the equipment to make sure that the fire department had an operable radio system. The chief, I think, is on the line, telephone. It's come to our attention that Bearcom is ultimately acting as the project manager. They are actually going to be doing the installation, but the actual equipment has come from Motorola Solutions, about $127,000 worth of equipment. Under the original contract, it was sent to Bearcom. I believe there's also going to be a third party assisting Bearcom. I need to come back to you and ask you to amend the contract or amend the language where you give us the authority to enter an agreement with all 3 of the parties and not just Bearcom. And I just wanted to get your okay because Motorola Solutions, they sent the equipment back in early November and they would like payment. And I have the ordinance and we have BOC approval for Bearcom. After we get your approval for the ordinance change, we'll go back to BOC and make sure that we have border control agreement for the payments to the other 2 vendors. I just wanted to get confirmation from you that you don't believe that you'll have any issue with this.
You're just gonna bring that revised legislation to our next meeting?
That is my plan. Yes.
Okay.
That's one item. Second item, I need to make sure that all of you keep on your calendar that we're going to need to pass the reconciliation budget, most likely on Wednesday, the 30th of December. That can be in the morning. It's my hope to have it finished Monday evening, printing it Tuesday so that we can give enough notice to the media. But if we could potentially look at you scheduling a time on that day, I don't believe I can get it done sooner because I will come in and work the 27th, which is Sunday. I think the Christmas falls on Saturday. I'll come in on Sunday and Monday, and I will work and get it put together. But I need for us to pass it before the end of the calendar year. And I don't think you want to wait till the 31st. So I'm hopeful that we can do that on the 30th. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask Valencia to contact all of you and find out if you'll be available. If we don't have all of you, if we have enough to make sure that we have a quorum so that we can have it, that would be great. That's the second item. Third item, we'd like to make sure that we can schedule a finance meeting. We'd like to come to you with a number of items that is going to have changes in the finance department. One has to do with expanding the computer department staffing because of a dilemma that we have in the fire department. I know that the Chief Finley has spoken to you in-house. The administration has decided we have a path that we'd like to discuss with you with regards to how we would address that. We also are internally talking about centralized purchasing. And given that that is a finance function, we want to bring you up to speed on where we are with that. So we are developing an agenda to hopefully have in front of you, but we want to make sure you put it on your radar so that we could potentially talk about that on top of the salaries for the finance director and possibly law director changes. So we just want to make sure that you're aware, and we'd like to potentially schedule a date that works for you along with the mayor.
Okay, that would be finance committee meeting is what you're looking for that, Kyle?
Yes, I believe so, because we're talking about all the things that we're talking about are positions and wages. So yes, that would be the finance committee.
And you want that before what's your
Our timetables, we probably want to have it before we have the 9th, because by the 9th, we have to have legislation to you. So if we can schedule that meeting before then, so that at least we get clarity on your feelings as a committee, we can share with you draft language. But again, we need to coordinate Valencia with your staff, with the rest of you, and also the administration with the mayor and his time, and making sure that we don't have a conflict where all the parties cannot be present.
Okay. So I can work on that finance committee meeting, getting that scheduled.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else before we adjourn?
I just would like to thank all of you for all of your prayers and well wishes. It's been a struggle the last week, but I'm definitely getting stronger. I look forward to getting back to the office and helping close out the year. And I'm just my family and I are very, very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kyle. It was good to hear that you're feeling good and things were successful for you so far. Anything else from anyone under miscellaneous before we adjourn? Anita.
Kyle, behave yourself. Yeah, you. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Okay, I'm going to take my motion. What?
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, motion to adjourn. Thank you, Anita.
Second.
Second. Thank you, everyone.